Hey guys, this is Fady from Heartbeat Productions and welcome to another video. In today's video, I'll be reviewing this. So I recently got my hand on this, which is a set of universal in-ears by HIDIZS. I think that's how you say your name. It's HIDIZS. And this is their MS-5 model, which is their flagship model. And in today's video, we'll be reviewing this. I'll tell you what I'm thinking about it, and I believe these are about 350 bucks, 400 bucks, something like that. So it's somewhere in the middle cost. And if you're looking for in-ears, so stick around, see if this will be a good option for you or not. So before we start unboxing this and see what's inside, let's talk about the specs real quick in here so you'd understand where this is coming from. So these in-ears are 4-driver in-ears. They have a low-end driver, a mid-driver, a top driver, but then they also have a dynamic driver, which is very interesting, the blend between 1 dynamic drivers and 3 independent drivers. I've not seen that before. I've seen in-ears where they're entirely dynamic drivers or entirely separate drivers. So I guess what matters is what sounds like more than anything else. Also, in terms of sensitivity, these in-ears are 104 decibel sensitivity, which they have plenty of volume in them, and the impedance, they are actually very low impedance at 5.3 ohms. And I've tested those with my laptop, so direct to my laptop, to see like, am I going to get enough volume or not? And they were actually pretty dang loud. I think I listened to one of the songs I mastered, had my my computer volume at maybe 40%, and it was pretty loud. I wouldn't go further than that. Okay, so now that we've kind of said that, let's kind of open it up and let's see what's in there. So this is the box. So first thing when you open the box, so what you see is that right there, which are the 2 sets of in-ears. They actually look pretty slick. I was impressed with their design. Their whole design looks really nice. So this is, you can remove this section, and then I'm going to get one of these in-ears here, so show you guys. So this is what the unit looks like. And then this is the speaker section of it. And this is before adding any tips yet. It looks really nice, and it feels really nice. And these are, the cable connector is a 2-pin. You can see it right there. That's where the cable connects. Now the other thing in the box, there's actually a bunch of stuff that came in the box. You guys can see there's tips, there's these, which we'll explain in a second, and then there's that really nice case that carries the cable in it. So here's this, which has the cable in it. Okay, so let's kind of talk through all what we got in here first. So I would say one of the things that makes those in-ears stand out, it's something I've not seen much in any other companies. So this little speaker right here, that one, it came with 3 of those. So one is already mounted on it, and then there is 2 more, the red one and then that silver one. And what these are, you can unscrew it, and then it comes out. So I just unscrewed it right here. Fully came out. And then I can connect any of the other ones. And one is balanced, which is the one that came with it, which is kind of like a rose gold color. Then the red one is more, says on it, bass, which is for low end, more low end. And then the other one is said treble, or for more top end. And I've tested them, and basically what it is one is more kind of flat EQ, and then the other one has more boost in the bottom end, and then the other one has more boost in the top end. And they rightfully do so. But not only this, is the tips that you put on these are also classified into 3 categories as well, which is very interesting. So you have tips that go with the balanced unit, and tips that goes with the low end one, and tips that goes with the top end one. And I think that kind of the complement between the tips and that little speaker head thing to make sure that you're getting the frequency that you're supposed to be getting. I'm going to grab here the balanced tips, which are these ones. So these are the balance tips, and you guys can see them. There are the rubber kind of tips, and then that piece just kind of sits inside here, really straightforward, like any other in-ear tips. They do feel comfortable. This is kind of what they look like. They look really nice. They feel very comfortable. They're very low profile. They don't stick out. Actually, they almost look like custom in-ears in a way when you're looking like this. You can't really tell if these were custom or universal. So I really like what they feel and what they look like. Now in the cable, so let's grab the cable right here. It's a 2-pin cable. So here's the 2 pins. And then they will just connect to the 2-pin section on the in-ear unit like this. Okay, let's talk about what do I like and what do I not like. And then we'll also talk about audio quality, obviously. So first thing, build quality. The thing looks really nice. It feels very nice. It feels sturdy. They came these little speaker things that are like the metal. They're even mounted to a little metal plate. Cable is very sturdy. It's super thick. I mean, you can see it here in the video actually a little bit. Do you see how thick that cable is? It's a very thick cable. And it's braided. The build quality of the actual in-ears itself, the little case, even the case that came with it, it's like really nice. It feels like really solid. It's actually hard on the outside. And it has like a pouch and then a little thing to put more stuff in it. You don't feel like you're getting a cheap set of in-ears. Then the other thing that I love about is that feature. That feature was actually mind-blowing because I have 2 sets of custom in-ears. One is like $1,500 and one is $3,000. And the point was a little bit to do this. One is more flat, so I can use it in the studio, and the other one is more hyped, has more top end and bottom end, that I can use it on the stage. So being able to get all 3 in one set without having to buy multiple sets of in-ears and just swapping this, it's actually very impressive. Now, how do these sound? So I've been using the in-ears for a little bit, just tested out, plugged it into my computer. So I used my headphone preamp on the computer because I wanted to use like a basic headphone preamp, nothing fancy, none of my expensive studio equipments, because that's where most people would be using it on. And then I listened to some songs that I'm familiar with, that I love, and then I've listened to some of the songs that I have mixed and mastered myself, so I'm very familiar with the frequency response on those. And here's my first thoughts about it. In terms of sound quality, especially, so I started first with the transparent, the normal one, which is called the balanced one. And it did sound pretty balanced. Low end was tight. It was not exaggerated. Mids were right there. The top was pretty clean. It was not hyped or it was not dull. I didn't get any noise or anything that I wasn't liking. It actually sounded very good in my ears. I was very, very impressed. Maybe the only thing, if I would want to be nitpicky about it a little bit, I was not super impressed with the stereo imaging, because especially when I listened to the song that I mixed, so I know how wide the stereo imaging that song is, and it felt slightly narrower than I would like it to be. Now when I switched to the red tip, this one, and that's the bass one, I can immediately tell the difference where the bottom end was more exaggerated and pushed, but it was not muddy exaggerated. It was still clean, but I can tell there's more, like my drums, especially I can tell bass drums and snare drum, I can hear more bottom end in the drum and more bass and more kick drum, which on their website they were recommending, like the red one, if you doing rock or full band, or you're a drummer or a bass guitar or a guitar player, then we would recommend those because you get more of that bottom end punch. And then the top end had more crisp, more cleaner mix to it, which they were recommending those for vocalists or for like an acoustic guitar player or a violin player, something like that, that does not, you don't need to be hearing all that low end. So this would be the one that you would use. And it really makes a difference, like switching between those tips. So obviously you would have to switch the little thing here, you'd have to unscrew it from the in-ear and then screw the next one, and then you would have to grab a knee tip that matches it and put that as well. So it's a little bit more work than, it's not like plug and play, but it does make a difference. The tips, I like the tips quality. They're pretty standard, like any other decent quality tips that I've used before. I would say, which I don't think it's the company's issue in my opinion, I have really wide ear canals, and the large size tips on these, they still didn't feel snug enough in my ears. So I would actually prefer if they would have sent maybe a fourth one. So it'd be small, medium, large, extra large, or something like that, where you can accommodate for musicians that have wider ear canals. That's pretty much it. So price range, you're looking at $400, $350, depending on the sales they're running. So I'll leave a link to the product in the comments below, in the description. But for the buck that you're spending, it's a great product. Sounds absolutely amazing. Sounds similar to some in-ears that I've used that are in the $1,400-$1,500 universal sets that I've used before. It's actually very, very impressive what they sounded like. And the build quality, it does not feel cheap. It does not look cheap either. And by the way, this review is not a paid review. I did not get paid to review this. And when they sent me those and said, tell us your honest opinion on it, I said, I will tell you what I think. I'm not going to just make a good video about it. And they were open to that as well, which I appreciate that. So if this was helpful for you, check it out, links in the comments, and if this video is helpful, make sure to subscribe, and if you have any questions, put them in the comments below. I'll try to answer them, and I'll see you guys in the next video.